Do you lead from the front or do you lead from the center?
Depends on the circumstance, is the honest answer. So if you've got a collaborative project you're all working on, then I think the central leadership is the way to do it. If you've got a problem or a crisis, let's say it's a customer issue, then sometimes you need to be a bit more dynamic and a bit more autocratic, and sometimes that's where you lead from the top. So I think you need to be flexible as a leader, and one size doesn't fit. It depends on the circumstance.
In hospitality, when we say lead from the front, is a completely different destination or definition. For us is we have to be in front of the guest or lead by example kind of a thing. For me, is in terms of the leadership, we need to be the key example. Every time anything happens, people are able to follow. Like earlier, probably Brian said, it is not on what do you do, how do you act, rather than what do you say.
What's important in my experience is really finding the right way to get others to step up and make decisions and take responsibility for major decisions, right? So I think that's, frankly, for us, that's a process, right? Is that we are trying to get team members in the middle to step up and to take ownership and to take decisions and to be so-called taking leadership from the middle, so to speak, right? But it's not something that happens overnight. And so again, as Paul said, I think depending on the situation, depending on the project, depending on the decision that needs to be taken, would determine ultimately how best for that leadership decision to be taken.
I agree with what Brian is saying, and I think one of the roles of the leader is to empower others and create new leaders within the organization. And now, there are moments that the leader needs to lead from the front, especially for those business critical and initiatives and things that are really critical and cannot fail. Someone needs to take the responsibility, and this responsibility ultimately is from the leader. But I think leader also needs to distinguish what is tactical and what is strategic, and you need to delegate the tactical and think much more from a strategic perspective, a bird's eye view, and a big challenge. Going back to one of the things that Paul said in the beginning of this conversation about the pace of changes and how it's becoming even difficult to keep up with it. I think one of the big roles of a leader today is to filter all the noise and that it's happening, new technologies, new trends, is to be able to filter the noise and bring in the team in the direction that the company needs to go.